Oh my goodness. Well, it's good that you got approved, Wicked. It's kind of like the target goal, right? To die with no assets, with nothing, right? I do want to leave a little bit to my child. My parents left me a little bit. Well, greetings, everybody. I'm glad Interfleet's here because I was going to start off the show by saying I am Grimskull, the graphic sensei, and super awesome pixel pushing samurai for David Foster Media. Good morning, Rudy. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Wicked. Good morning, Interfleet. And good morning, Michelle. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys. Showing up, coming to hang out. Good morning, Steph. As a matter of fact, I had breakfast this morning. I had 2 breakfast burritos. Wow. Sorry, looking at texts. Yeah, healthcare is definitely important. We could just happen to be awake. That's fine, man. That's fine. You know, if you happen to be awake and then, you know, I'm streaming, you, sir, are more than welcome to come hang out and, you know, use this stream to pass the time. Because basically that's what I do. I use this stream to pass the time and sort of make a living. So if you were here yesterday, even if you weren't, we messed around with Photoshop and creating overlays, and really it was kind of we kind of got down into the nuts and bolts of using Photoshop and Interfleet says spent all day working with layouts, spent 2+ hours rewatching the video trying to figure out how you did the cutout. Did it finally by accident? Still not sure how to do it. I can go over that real quick. We can go over that real quick. We can go over that real quick, and we will go kind of go through, starting with Photoshop, creating a Photoshop file that you will then import. French toast. Stop it, Lori. Stop it. You're killing me. We'll go through creating a Photoshop file. Excuse me. It's those burritos. It's those breakfast burritos. Did you see my shirt? Bigfoot. And of course it has I'm not sure. I think that's Japanese. It may. I'll have to ask my kid. I'm pretty sure it is. Anyway. So we're going to go through creating a Photoshop file that will be used in the GT title designer for vMix, and how to animate that, and then how to pull that into vMix. How's that sound? I know a lot of you are not necessarily into Photoshop or use vMix or anything. Interfleet does for his show, which I highly recommend. If you are not following, which I believe most of you have already, seen the shout out, but we will do it again for Interfleet. Most of us in that kind of the 50 range will appreciate, and not just the 50. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would appreciate the retro sci-fi stuff. But Bubba Gump Shrimp. Popcorn shrimp. Shrimp etouffee. I don't even know if that's shrimp gumbo. I can get my lip out there. Shrimp gumbo. Shrimp scampi. Who's 12 away? Who's 12? Are you 12 away? From our. Okay, from our. Cool. Yeah, if you have not been over to Interfleets on YouTube, I think I put your Facebook. Let me go. Let's find that. Give me a sec. Uno momento. YouTube. We're going to go to Interfleet Broadcasting. Yeah. All right, folks. If you would, head over to that YouTube channel and subscribe. Interfleet Broadcasting, Steph. I don't know if you are you are an artist, but and they do have a lot of artists on that show. As a matter of fact, that are into, sci-fi, classic 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? Sci-fi shows. $12 away. Yeah, Wicked is a madman when it comes to Reacher. You're a madman. I got to start my second watch though. We finished up a show called The Alienist. We finished up a show called The Alienist last night, which is an interesting show about the turn of the century New York, and it's about three people, a psychologist or psychiatrist. They call him the alienist because people that were mentally disturbed, they felt were alienated from their true nature, and an alienist was someone that helped them or was there to understand how to bring them back to So it's kind of the early days of mental health and psychiatry. Turn of the century women's suffrage and all that stuff. It's a good show. I liked it. Only 2 seasons, and they end it. I mean, they had 2 seasons and they end it. It's on HBO Max. They end it decent. Anyways, let me close a few windows here and get organized. I don't want to save that file because I don't need it. Let's get rid of that. I gotta tell you, that's a solid show. Reacher's a solid show. Definitely a solid show. All right. Interfleet, put the seatbelt on. Put your seatbelt on. Because here we go. Here we go. All right, we're going to start off in Photoshop here, right? Now, what I did earlier is I went into one of my After Effects files. And you don't have to do this. This is what I did, and found, you know, the elements that go with my no seatbelts on the base star. You're dampening. Your inertial dampeners, put those on. Strap into the cockpit. They have straps on the Vipers though. Now if you're a Cylon, then well, nobody cares. You're just a toaster. But I exported a file. Wow, yeah, there you go. I exported a file with some that has to do with or has the look and feel of some of my overlays. So I have this bar here. Now the first thing you gotta understand with GT Title Designer and using Photoshop files is the file size to import has to be the dimensions. It has to be either 720 or 1080, right? 16 by 9. And I use, of course, 1920 by 1080. So I'm going to go into the image canvas size. This width is already 920. I'm then going to go and then create the height at 1080. Hit OK. So there we go. The second thing for your photo, you know, once you've got your layout, you know, that's where you're going to place, you know, your images. Now you can go in and click new and then create a new one, right? That will have it will have your guides, which is very useful, right? I'm gonna just get rid of that background, right? So this is a clean file with some guides, and usually in Title Designer it'll have the same guides, right? They'll have some same guides that are for broadcast. Yeah, for broadcast. So you can create either a new file and then take your old files, right? Select them, copy them, and then paste. Oops. Now it's going to paste it right in the middle, so then you'll have to move it. I got that weird looking... What is that layer? Spots. All right. We don't want spots. Because I exported this out of After Effects, I've got a bunch of, you know, miscellaneous crap, so you don't have to worry about paying attention to that. But I'm just going to get rid of, you know, what I don't need. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, flatten by shift selecting the layers I want, Control E. That makes that one. And I'm just going to say, you know, pink box. I'm also going to do the same thing with this black bar and the pattern. I'm going to flatten that, and we're going to say that this is the text box. Text box. So now we're left with two boxes that I want to use. Okay. But we need some other elements in here. I am going to add my profile pic, and I'm just dragging that in. I'm dragging that in from either File Explorer or Bridge. Yes, we will put a logo in there. Don't worry. I don't like that one. I don't like that picture. I want to use a different one, so I'm going to delete that. Here, let's pull this one over. All right, here we go. This profile pic, right? I'm going to size it down. I'm going to kind of put it over this pink area. And I want it to be round. I want it to be round, so I'm going to use a shape layer. I'm going to get rid of the stroke. And then I'm going to click and start dragging, and then I'm going to hit my Shift key and my Control key. That way it drags it from the center, right? Shift constrains it to proportion. Then your Control key will drag it from the center and not from... Well, actually, it does drag it from the center. You don't have to hold your Control key. You can hold your Alt key if you want to, you know, drag it from the point down. But if you just leave it, don't hold your Control key. Forget that part. Now, if you want to move it for placement, you can then use your thumb and hold the space bar and then move it and let it go, then drag it. If you need to move the circle at its current size. Now that I got this shape, I'm going to move it below. I'm going to move it below my profile pic. I'm then going to use the Control and Alt key, and it's going to bring up that little layer mask or clipping icon, the little down arrow. If you put it between the two layers and then click, it will use that circle as a clipping mask. Now that that's done, I'm then going to double click on my ellipse. Double click on my ellipse, and I'm going to go up to stroke. And it's already at 6, and then I've got the blue color. I'm going to leave it that way. All right. We're then going to go get our logo. We're going to go get a logo. I'm going to pull in a logo from either File Explorer, or you could double click and open it up. You can then, select all, copy, and then go back and paste. Right? Oops. You want to make sure to paste it in a layer away from so that it doesn't affect your clip mask. I'm going to fix that right there. All right, so I got 2 logos and I only need 1, so I'm just going to drag one and delete it. All right, I'm going to move this logo down to where I want it. Oops, that's the wrong one. Select the layer. I'm going to move it down to where I want it. I want it to be let's drag that text box down. That way the logo's on top of it. It's kind of big. It's kind of rotated funky, so I'm just going to rotate it. All right. I like that. I like it. I'm going to add, let's see. I'm going to delete. Let's delete this one because, or now we're going to make sure we do always be saving, right? Okay. Control Alt, right? Let's show you. All right. So we have, I'll zoom in a little bit. We have our profile pic, right? And we have this shape layer, right? So I'm going to move the profile pic above that shape layer, right? And then make sure it's in your layers panel that your profile pic is the top layer, your shape layer, which is an ellipse, is the bottom layer, right? I'm then going to control in your layers panel. I'm going to hold Control and Alt, and then place that little, you see the hand icon. I'm going to place that in between the 2 layers, and it's going to give me the clipping icon. And then I'm going to click with Control Alt held down, and it creates a clipping mask. Make sense? So, and you can do that with any 2 layers, right? If you want to create a custom, rectangle, or just and what that enables you to do, right? What that enables you to do, it's just if you have a where is that located in the menu? All right. So select the layers, go up to layer, create clipping mask. It's also Alt Control G, right? So layer, make sure they're both selected. Layer, create clipping mask. Oops. All right, so you select the topmost layer that you want clipped with the bottom one, then go to layer, create clipping mask. There you go. right? Or use Control-Alt-G with the layer that you want clipped above the layer that you're using as a clipping mask. Remember, the bottom is the layer that's going to be used to clip the top layer. So, right? And here's what's kind of useful about that, right? Let me move, let's select those two layers and then move them back down. So I created this text box copy, right? I can find a nice, let's see. This is clip. Let me find one that's nice and let's see. Let's use Montserrat black. All right. I'm going to scale that up. Right. Now remember, we want the bottom to be our clipping mask. So I'm going to bring that down below and then select the top and Control-Alt-G. And now you use your text to clip. You can use your text to clip images and you know, add a little extra to it. And then you're going to add, you know, your any layer effects, right? Your layer styles to the bottom layer. Right? And oops, I didn't want to do that. And remember, we can then go in and add strokes. Good morning, Joe. What's up? All right. Let's get back on track. Delete those. All right, so I've got a lot of elements here, right? And let's go ahead and make sure they're it's kind of centered. I hit my thing. I'm sorry. When I went back, okay, we went to lower third. I must have hit it with my coffee cup or something. All right. So once you've got all your elements in your Photoshop file, hey, what's up, James? We are going to save it as to keep it editable, right? This is good. We want to, save as, name it, and something editable, right? Or original or something, right? Because we want to keep a copy that we can go back and change if need be. Once you've got everything in place, right? Everything in place. The thing with the GT title designer and Photoshop files is it has to be the 16:9 dimension. Text has to be rasterized if you have any text in it. Like, say we're not going to use this to create a text lower third, but say I just want to have a pop out with that says, buy me sushi.com, right? You want to make sure that text is rasterized, save it as editable, right? So we're going to save it, and then I'm going to save as, and whatever makes sense to you, I'm going to say, flat. So any layers, like your text layers, that has to be rasterized, and you can right-click on the layer, rasterize type. So now that is I can click on it. I can't. This is not editable anymore. My icon, if you look over here, right there, that is a smart object. So I'm going to right-click on that, and I'm going to rasterize that layer. My profile pic and my clipping, I'm gonna select both of those. I'm going to you can right click and merge layers, and that creates one layer there. So that merges those into one layer. My text box and my pink box are already rasterized. So all my layers are rasterized layers, but they are still on separate layers. Okay? And the reason for that is we can do, it's going to pull them in as separate layers into GT Title Designer. All right, we good so far? I've saved that. Control S save. Any questions? Any questions for, what you need to do to prepare your Photoshop file? And what's good, right? What's good is you can sit here, you can do this, right? Let me, I'm going to go to there, and I'm going to, right? Yeah, yes, you have to rasterize any layer styles, and you have to rasterize any text, and you have to rasterize any linked smart objects. So I just took that shot there. One of the good things, what you can do also, right, is when you're designing these, take a screen grab. Where did that go? Where did I save that to? I'll do that again. Title CTA template. Okay. Cancel. Good morning, Alex. Well, that's why Interfleet, I highly suggest you make a copy, right? When you're designing it, before you rasterize anything. Here, let me I'm going to close that, right? I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to my lower third editable, right? Right? And let's just pretend this is not the editable. You know, while you're designing it, you can go up to File, Save a Copy, right? If you save a copy, you know, I'm going to just say editable 2. It has saved a copy of it, but basically I'm still in. Oh. So I'm in editable here. Sorry. I'm in editable, right? You can go up to File, Save a Copy. And then, like I said, I saved a copy, lower third editable 2, right? But this file I'm in is the one that I want to stay in. So I've saved a copy out. That way I've got that backup or that editable copy. And then you can save this, you know, then rasterize and then, you know, save it. Makes sense, I hope. All right. Okay. Also, what I wanted to do, let's go back and we're going to go, because we don't need the editable one. Let's go open. Well, yeah. Since we're in the editable one, in vMix or whatever program you're using, create a screen grab. It's really useful to create a screen grab that you can then where is that? Man, I hid that sucker. You know, create a screen grab. That way you can sit there and work with, you know, the placement. Right? Good God, that dude's like handsome. I mean, ugly. I mean, who knows? You know, that way, if you need to, you know, make adjustments to your screen, I'm going to leave it the way it is. All right, so I'm going to open up my flat one again. Let's save the editable. Okay. All right, so far so good, right? So we got everything rasterized. Got all the elements that, you know, we want separated. All right, so we're gonna go into the title designer here. When you open it up, it'll have a blank layer. Like here, I'll close it, and then we can open it up again. There we go. The first thing we're going to do is go to File, and there's Import PSD. And you're going to browse to where you need. Hey, what's up, Hans? You're going to browse to where you saved your Photoshop file, and we call it lower third or lower third, or I forgot my D. I'm going to open it, and it's going to bring it in. Boom. Bring it in as, at its dimensions with all your layers already in place. And on the right side, it's kind of like Photoshop. You're going to have a layers panel, your main layer, which can hide everything. And then each layer can be hidden, turned off and on. I'm going to turn off the Buy Me a Sushi text layer because we don't want that right now. In fact, I'm going to turn everything off except these two layers on the bottom, the text box and then my pink box. Now, starting with the text box, I'm going to select it. And then we're going to go to animations. Now, if you look, you've got the pause, the play in, out. Play will just play the start. Play in, out will play like your intro, your beginning animate, your transition in, and then your transition out. And you've got, several, and we're not going to get too technical, right? We're just going to do a simple one here. That way, it'll give you the basics and understanding of what you can do, and then you can go in and play around with it later. So we're going to go transition in, and my advice is start with transition in and do your transition in on all the elements you want first. Then switch over to transition out. So I want my left text box here. I want that to kind of fly from the left. So when you hit fly, it's going to give you some more options. Delay, I want that to be 0. I want it to be pretty quick, so I'm going to put 0.5, and I'm going to put a cubic easing in. That basically, it's like when it comes in kind of fast, but then it kind of eases to a stop. So if easing is an animation term where, it's like you think of a car, or anything that has inertia. It doesn't just go stop. It's going fast, but then it slows into the stop. So that's easing in. And then like when you're pulling off at a red light, when it goes green, you don't just go at the top speed. Your car has to kind of, ease out up to speed. That makes sense. Hopefully it does. So I want that to fly in zero delay, 0.5, half a second, and easing in. And you can look at it by hitting the play button in play transition or play up here. You see how that kind of comes in. And then I'm going to do my pink box, and I want it to fly from the left, or the right, right, my military left. Again, 0.5 and easing in. And there's all kinds of, interesting different ones, and play around with the ones, you've got to fade, you've got to bounce, You could pull in an image sequence. Can have it rotate, scroll, zoom, expand, zoom, fade. All right. So we got our main box coming in. My profile pic, let's do that one real quick. I want this to do a zoom right from the center, 0.5, and an ease in. And actually what I want it to do, I want it to have a bit of a delay. Let's give it a 0.5 delay so that it comes in just after the text box and pink box come in. There we go. I want to do that kind of same thing with my logo, but I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to delay it by 0.5. Good morning, APG. Happy Sunday. Good to see you. Hope all is well. He smelled vMix. Like APG smelled vMix. All right. Yeah, I'm going to do an ease in on that. And let me go back to the profile pic and make sure, yeah, I got an easing on that. And then let's try matching that. Let's see what happens with that. All right. So, all right, now we have, I'm trying. I don't like that rotate. I think we might be able to, like, 1, 2, and 3 is how you add additional transitions. So let's say we wanted my Grim. If Kevin were here, he'd be able to tell us. Yeah, GT Title Designer is for vMix, yes. And here's one thing we want to do, right? Let's always be saving. I'm going to go File, Save As, Grim L Third. And I'm going to save that. My shows, my titles. So I've got it rotating, but I want it to zoom. So I think if we hit 2, we can add the zoom and delay, duration, and then, and if I'm not mistaken, that should let it zoom and rotate at the same time. Let's see. Yes. Make note of that, Interfleet. You can export as PNG. I am not sure if that exports it as a... Well, let's try it, right? Oh, well, we want to give it a name. L Third. And I think it just exports that. Yeah, it exports it just as a PNG. So file, save as, will it let us file No, yeah, it looks like it is all proprietary. The files you make and design in here are all proprietary to use in vMix. Doesn't look like you can export them out to use on anything else that I'm aware of so far. That is from my limited knowledge, Alex. I don't want to sit here and go, I am 99.9% sure. I am 80% sure. Because the idea with these is because you can connect these to data sources and stuff. So, and really, it's really limited. I mean, if you want to do some great, lower third animations and stuff, for other programs, yes, there is. But I think what Alex was looking at is, is this a design tool that he could use for eCam? Files created in this, can you use them in eCam? It saves them as these GT zip files, so not sure. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. And frankly, most of the time I would probably because there's no motion blur or anything in this, so I would myself, most of the time I'm going to create my animations, the graphics animations part of it in After Effects. But not everybody has that, right? I mean, I'm just saying, telling you what I, as a motion graphic artist, that's what I do. Most of the animation that I would do is going to be done in After Effects. I will then use the vMix conversion tool to change those to an image sequence, which let me say this file. Yeah. Yes. Okay. File, open. I created this a while back, right? And all of that animation, that's an image sequence. That I believe I forgot how I have to go look and remember how I got that in, but I exported the animation itself, the wipe on, and you see how the letters all kind of, turn, roll in and then roll out. Created that in After Effects. It's very simple. It's a very, it's not a complex animation by any means, but you can see there's like a bit of motion blur, and the lines kind of paint on. And then I brought that in, and then I added these lines of text, right? These lines of text, which you can then pull that in as the title and add whatever text you want. I'll show you that here in a bit. Let's go back. I'm going to open up my lower third. No, I do not want to save the changes. So it did not save my my zoom. So let's fix that. Let's fix my zoom. Oh, what happened? Did you see that? What the heck? It's because I had the main layer selected. So let me go back to, that's always another thing. It's like, always make sure you get the right one selected. While watching Grim, I found myself creating my channel logo. Nice. Zoom. Yeah, we want it to zoom. 0.5. Go there, and we want to. We wanted that to rotate. All right. So we got on page 1, we've got a zoom. On page 2, page 1, we've got a rotate. On transition 2, we have a zoom, so that it will scale up and rotate at the same time. Something is not happening the way I want. All right. 0.5. We want it to 0.5. So you got to pay attention to delays and durations. And we want it to ease in. All right. So that should be back to normal. Boom. All right. So now all of that comes in. We can add text. Right? We've added a text box. That's what that is. I'm going to move my text box 1. We can create, we're just going to use a single line of text at the moment. You're a bit behind. No problems. You can catch up. With the text selected, we want to choose some colors, right? I am going to go to Photoshop. And select that color. That kind of magenta is the color. You can call it pink if you want. Cancel. And it has also, like any other color picker, it lets you then paste your hexadecimal in there. Boom. That does not look good. The pink does not go well with that. So let's go back and grab the blue. Blue, where are you? Of course, you can dial it in however you want, and then it saves, recent colors. We're going to apply it. All right. We're then find my text, and I got to look at this too to see if if it preserves your font, because Nick, I hate it. I hate it when you have to then scroll, right? Audience, what audience? What's up? Hey, welcome back. Let's 132. That's a bit big. What she said. I think it's a good URL. Let's do twitter.com/grimskull. All right. This has a word wrap on it. I think there's a way that you can dynamically have it resize. I'm not going to cover that here. But we'll look. Format. That's for, yeah. Nope. I think in the actual title, there's a title. When you bring it in to vMix, there as a title, I believe there is a way in there to have it automatically adjust. Fixed. Okay. Fixed. Maybe this is it right here. Width and height. How about shrink? There you go. Shrink. That right there, right? And Kevin Margarita's here. And any information that I am giving you wrong, he will be sure to correct. But we also want this to be centered from top to bottom. But then I'm going to go, your text goes here. All right. Let's rename that. You can double click on any of these layers, right? And then change the name. So I'm just going to say text. My layer is L3rd. It didn't. What? Weird. Are you sure you're subscribed? All right. I've got my text in, right? So far we've got everything animates in. We want our text to animate in, right? So I'm going to select my text and we're going to go to animations and we're just going to do a reveal from the bottom. And the delay is 0.5. Duration is 0.5. Well, let's make the at 1 and then ease in, right? There we go. There we go. So far we've created our Photoshop file, Kevin. We created our Photoshop file. We covered the we covered the limitations of Photoshop. What you know that you have to have all your layers have to be flattened, rasterized layers. Whereas we had created a nice editable version, which has, you know, editable text, an editable text layer, which we're not using right now, right? And then a linked, you know, all these linked files and, you know, all the other, you know, non-destructible tools or elements. Well, even, you know, a nice picture of me there. We saved that. We saved a copy, and then we saved it as lower third flat, where we rasterized everything. Then we went in, created a new title. We imported our Photoshop file in. We've now animated all our transitions. or our transition in and added a text layer. Just a single line text layer. We've used the transition in, and on our little logo here, we use the two page or two transition, to where on one we added a rotate, and then on two we added the zoom so that it kind of scaled up as it spins in, right? Not yet, but soon. Thank you, sir. Oh, and maybe you could, Alex was here asking about, if GT Title Designer, the GT Title stuff, it's proprietary, right? This is used for vMix. You can't like export these out to use in like other programs. I haven't found any way to export it, other than just a still PNG of what you've built. Yeah. And I was mentioning, you can use After Effects. I'm trying to think of any other kind of I don't know, one of those Adobe alternatives you can use, right? I think there's something. What the After Effects, is it Affinity Design? What is it? I have to look it up. The Adobe alternative to. Yeah, there you go. So if yeah, but you would have to have vMix. You would have to have vMix, or can't wait. Can you download the GT Designer on its own without vMix? But then you'd have to have vMix to record it out. Yeah, that just, yeah. In my case, I would look for whatever Adobe alternative to After Effects is out there to use. Yeah. It's just, everyone should just use vMix. Okay, let's all right, Interfleet, you still around? Still paying attention? We'll get back on track here. Now we're going to add some transition outs, and that's why I say my suggestion is do your transition ins. All your transition ins, and then transition out. Go to transition out, and then you just reverse your process, right? Our text is reveal, but we're going to go down. 0 delay on that, 0.5, and ease out. So I'm going to play this, the in and out. So it's in, out, reveals in, and oops. it did play out, but because it just started over, it looked like it didn't, but it did. Trust me. I'm going to change that so that it goes down, up, and then down. Yeah, there we go. vMix tattoos for everyone. Okay, so all right. Now let's do our we want it to rotate. I'm gonna have it rotate from the center. Delay 0.5. There's no delay, and then we're going to again ease out. Right? We're gonna go to the second transition channel, zoom 0.5, and ease out. So let's see how that works. Zoom rotates in, rotates out. Rotates in, rotates out. I have it done from the center. So do we want it to, let's see. Try that. Center. Do I have to do it the opposite way? Banana tattoo. Yep. Yes, when you can do the in out, it, and then yeah. What? What is that? Streaming Mascot Alliance. I didn't even see if it was safe for work. All right, we'll look at that later. All right. The in-out animations fire on their own or only when you bring it in and out. You can, like I'm on transition out, right? So if I hit play when I'm on transition out, it just does the out transitions. But no matter what I'm on in this box, transition out, transition in, and I hit in out, it will play the transition ins and then the transition outs. The problem is when it does the transition out, it just reverts back to, I mean, it goes to the start again, or the default that you're looking at, right? The in-out animations fire on their own or only when you bring it in and out. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's finish this one animation. So again, it's rotated. Okay. What do I have? What do I have for that transition in? Let's go back and look at that in the, okay. It's rotating. Okay, I have it. So transition out. Maybe I need to do that backwards, right? The zoom. And then rotate, going the other way. There we go. That's better. No worries. No worries. No worries, Chris. Okay, again, let's save it. Always be saving. Save. So our last but not least, right, is our profile pic. And I believe our transition in on that was a zoom. So we're just going to, again, do a zoom out. And there's no delay. Actually, we got to do the other boxes too. So, right. So ease out. All right. Now, I want all of my content my logos and text, they go out instantly. So I want to put the delay on this text box, right? And we're going to fly the other way, but we're going to put a delay of a 0.5 on it, right? Ease out. Oops. We don't want it to go to the right. We want it to go back to the left. So I will just leave that where it's at. In and then back out. And then we want to do the same thing with the pink box, right? Transition out, fly, but it's going to go the other direction. And we do want it to have a delay, but the duration is pretty quick, and then cubic easing out. All right. That should be everything. So when we play it, animates in, animates out. Animates in, animates out. All right. Save. All right. Before we move on to the next one, any quick questions? Anybody got any questions? Kevin, do you have any comments, any suggestions? Again, we're doing something simple here. The directions are backwards on the out. Not really, right? It comes in, and then it goes out. Comes in, then goes out. When you're doing a transition in and you're on the text box, if you set it to come in from the left, on your transition out, you want it to also still, you don't want it to, you don't want to switch that over to the right, because then it'll go back out to the right. Yes, correct. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly so. Yeah. If you set your transition in with the arrow going to the right, then on the transition out, yes, you want to leave it on that transition going to the right or from the left, right? Yeah, exactly. You're right, Kevin. You know, whereas logically you would think, oh, but I want it to fly out to going back to the left, so I'm going to pick the other. Yeah. Hey, nobody said, you know, they're software designers, engineers, you know, software engineers. Sometimes, you know, their wiring is a little different. They're not UI designers. They're live streaming designers. All right. So there we have it. You got from Photoshop into the designer. We're going to save. Just one more time to make sure. We're going to close that. Man, hats off, right? I mean, hats off. And I was basically making fun, you know. All right. Let's pull over vMix and do some inception. I tell you, our little TV station that I worked at, the TV station that I worked at, they kept talking about doing streaming stuff, and they kept talking about doing streaming stuff, and I kept going, hey, well, here's some here's some options to use, and one of them was vMix, and and vMix is definitely less complicated than the big Ross has expressions, the expression system, which we got, which and it's definitely not as complicated as fucking Avid, right? I mean, when you can create a tool that is flexible, cost effective, I mean, I am so glad I kind of made the switch, or was offered a chance to use vMix. APG's in the house. vMix is cheap. All right. Now, hey, what's up, John? Now, for us as individual streamers, no, it's not necessarily the cheapest route. But if I'm a company, yes, it's affordable. Exactly, John. It's affordable. It's within that range. If you're going to do this sort of thing professionally, and again, I'm not knocking, OBS or anything, or Ecamm either, but if you're a small broadcast company, if like KMR said, Martin made vMix for his church. I mean, it is a cost-effective tool and very flexible, well maintained, lots of resources out there. When we got expressions at work, because we were on the Avid system, and then we switched over to the Ross expression system for broadcast. It was great. It was a good upgrade because we could use native Photoshop files and all kinds of stuff in it. But I mean, they kill you by nickel and diming you on the training and stuff. And there are no resources out there for those big type, broadcast softwares. And personally, I would not necessarily advise people that aren't wanting to try to make money to get it. I would advise against it. Unless you feel like you're going to grow, But it's a personal choice, it's also a personal choice, right? But yes, yeah, I mean, awesome, awesome. Okay. So here we are back in the Inception vMix. Oh, what was that? I didn't see it. What was it? Oh, our first Russian bot. Yeah. Great. All right. So let me go back to the title designer real quick. So as you remember, I was messing around with can you guys see me? This was a title I designed months ago with the help of Kevin. You see our text. We got 3 lines of text. And this was kind of meant to be like a kind of, well, I created it this way and then brought it into vMix. Right? And then when you bring it into vMix, you can edit the text, those lines of text in the title editor. Because any of those text box, right? Any of these text box that are in the title editor correlate, right, to your text that your text blocks that you created in the designer. Does that make sense to you, Interfleet? Right? For now, we're not messing with linking it up to data sources or Google or anything. But once you have it designed, right, you can bring in the input. You can even change, you can change when you put in when you edit the text, right? And you click on title editor, like I can say, be sure to check out Kevin Michael Reed. And I believe that should show up as here, let me go to my full cam. That should show up see how cool that was? Right? And then I can right click and go back to my like the content, right? Of course, it changed it on the fly. I need to go in and let me do that now. The trigger. I got 30 seconds is too much. Edit. All right. There we go. But I can go in here. Let's just do this. Let's do the. All right, that's my standard title, but let's pull in you can, on change. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. There are things we can do for that. All right. I am going to add title XML. Now, one of the things that was kind of weird was, right, I could add input here. Oops. With the and go to title, and then I could browse or choose, titles from here, right? Switch screen. Oh. So you can click the up arrow and there's title here. It'll let you browse to pick pick what you saved. Or if you add input, you go to title XML. All right. You hit recent and wherever you've got your stuff saved, and so whatever you had worked in the title designer with will show up in the recent. So we're going to use Grim L Third. Yes, which is beyond the scope of this tutorial at the moment, John. That will be my next hurdle to effectively learn how to do that. And then teach you. Unless Kevin does it first. Right? So you want to select it, hit OK. It's going to give you the title editor when you pull it in. I'm going to say, thanks for watching. And if you have more than one text box, like I said, I didn't rename it, but you would want to go in and rename them, like, line 1 or, name, descript, whatever logical naming convention you would have for a box, like, because that will also, when you start connecting it to spreadsheets and data, to data, a data sheet, your column names, I think, your column names are going to be connected, with your data source, right? You're going to pick all that stuff. But that, like I said, that is a bit beyond the scope of this currently tutorial. And if you're like me, you need the spelling. Too bad Grammarly doesn't work. If you have images that you want to replace, you can do that too. So thanks for watching. All right. And I had created one earlier, my Twitter. Be sure to follow me at twitter.com/Grimskull if you want to be notified. Of when I'm streaming, or, if I happen to have to take, to cancel that night's or morning stream, that's where I usually make the announcement, at Twitter grimskull. Which is probably not right? It's, at grimskull. Can you go to twitter.com/ yes, you can, grimskull. Couldn't quite remember. That account doesn't exist. That's not true. Grimkull does not exist, but Grimskull does. I have no idea yet. I'm sort of hungry though. Okay. It's now that we've got our title, right? We've got our title in there. We got to do a couple things, right? We got to do a couple things. We have to set it to, come in, and then the length we wanted on screen. And we're going to do that with a trigger. Let's go back to our title that we want. I'm going to hit the little gear, and on overlay in, right? Let me go make sure I got that right. Yeah, we've got on overlay in, overlay input to out function. Okay. On overlay in, transition. Actually, we want title. Go to title. Wait. Can't see that? Oh, sorry. You can't see it. You can't see it. All right, let's go back. We'll click on the gear. I'm going to go to triggers. I believe, let's see, it was on overlay in. Was it transition? Overlay. On overlay in, then the function was overlay input to out. And this is going to set the duration that it stays up. And I'm going to put it for 15 seconds. This sets the duration of how long it lasts on screen, okay? I'm going to add. I'm going to close that. The next thing we're going to do is create a shortcut. Okay? A shortcut. If you have a Stream Deck. So first I'm going to bring up my Stream Deck. I'm going to add a vMix shortcut. We're just going to name this L3rd because it's a generic one. I'm going to go ahead and switch the graphic. All right, so we got our lower third button set up. We're then going to go back to, we're going to go to settings. Shortcuts. What I'm going to do is I've already got two of these shortcuts set up, so I'm going to clone the one I just set up earlier for my Twitter. I'm going to clone it. This red one right here. I'm going to edit it. Now what you're going to do is you need to, with that vMix shortcut, we're going to find it. So you're going to hit find, and then on your Stream Deck or whatever controller you're going to use, you're going to press the button that's going to activate it, right? So there we go. On function, you're going to go down to your overlay and then overlay input 2 or whichever, right? Because you've got like 4. So I put those overlays on input 2. You're going to pick the input. So the title we just created, which I didn't change the name, so we'll go back and do that here in a minute. Input 49, the Grim lower third title. Select that. I'm going to leave everything else. Well, I'm going to rename it to L third. L third. I'm don't know, CTA. Yeah. I'm going to leave everything else the same. Click OK. So I kind of did that backwards because usually you can create the shortcut for, well, it doesn't really matter what order, right? I mean, you want to create the shortcut so you can activate it with your Stream Deck. But you'll use the trigger, the trigger on the actual title to set the delay. Does that make sense? Is it clear as mud? Did I just stick pencils in your eyes? I'm going to go up to general, and then we're going to say lower third CTA. And the thing about this is it's not, when you change stuff here, it changes it in your shortcut. So now instead of saying that, the file name. Good. All right. For anybody else who's not familiar, there you go. So now, thanks for watching. And see. And don't forget to go to twitter.com/Grimskull. All right, Michelle. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. We'll catch you later. Catch you Monday morning. I'm going to have to, I want to change my buy me a sushi now. I want to change that now. I would say, when they first come on, when you first bring them on, you want to lower third them for, 15 to 30 at least. Interfleet. if you're going to rapid, if you're going to rapid fire them, like go back and forth quickly, every couple of times you switch cameras back, font them. A lot of times it's depending on how long they're going to be on you. You want to give their lower third at the beginning when you first introduce them, and then certainly when the interview is concluding, you want to then lower third them again. So there you go. All right. So we took it. You're not supposed to tell. You're not supposed to tell, APG. That's a secret. Yeah, for big productions, especially like the way Kevin does, you want to try to automate them as much as possible. But, I'm not supposed to tell. It's always a secret. Oh, well. All right, so we created a Photoshop graphic. We pulled that into the title designer, added some transitions. We then pulled that into the vMix production and added the shortcuts and some triggers. Hopefully you guys got some useful info out of that. Like I said, I just want to say thank you for coming to hang out. I appreciate it. Quick show how to cut the window. Oh, yes. All right. All right, so we're going to create a Photoshop file, right? I'm going to right-click. Well, actually, I'm going to create a layer, right-click. I'm going to artboard from layers, okay? And let's just say we're going to call this the share screen. Screen. Okay. Share screen. Now, you'll want to go up to properties, right? Once you create an artboard. I need to show my screen. I should show my screen. All right. Start over. Rewind. Here we go. How to do cutouts real quick. File, new. We're going to use a 1920 by 1080. We're just going to call this overlays. I'm going to alt double click. Thank you, Interfleet. I need to fix that. I need to fix that that damn alert. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. All right, I'm going to create a empty layer and then get rid of that white layer, right? And then I'm going to right click. I'm artboard from layers. We're going to name this share screen, right? So now I've got an artboard. Let me turn off these lines, all right? I've got an artboard, but if you notice, right, that I have an empty layer here, but it's white, right? The background is white. You want to go up with your artboard selected, your artboard name selected. You want to go up to properties. Don't worry about set artboard preset. I mean, Android 1080 is just fine. You could set it to custom if you want, but it's 1920 by 1080, which is like standard high definition dimensions. You could if you wanted to, you can set it to like a 4K dimension, and then when you export it out, to kind of the high def dimension. But I just leave it on Android. We're gonna go this artboard background color. We want that to be transparent. Okay. Transparent. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to our shape layers, or this ellipse tool. We're gonna click on that tool and then click the rectangle tool, right? We're then just going to click on the center, right? Click in the middle. It's going to bring up our dialog box. We want to change that to 1920 by 1080. Our corners, we're going to set that to 0. And it's going to be from center. We're going to click OK. All right. If you see any of the, the gray transparent background, simply just click that layer. Go to canvas. Well, should go to canvas. What the? That's the one thing I don't like working with artboards. It's hard to use the alignment tool. So if you see that, you can go back to the properties panel, set the X and Y to 0. 0 being, the corner. I moved it somehow, so I'm going to Control A, 0. Oops. 0. Enter. It's still not. Why is it doing that? All right. Let's just drag it. Do I have 2 boxes there? You bastards. Either way, it doesn't have to be the perfect size. You can actually have it, bigger than the screen if you want, just to cover that up. With that selected, you could select whatever color you want. I like using green, like green screen. Gives you that kind of bold effect. All right. With that selected, we're then going to create another rectangle. I'm going to click once, and I'm going to do 1280 by 720, which is also 16 by 9, right? I'm going to, with that selected, I'm going to use my direct selection tool. I'm going to cut it. Then with my my base rectangle, I'm then going to paste it. And if you notice, it didn't create another layer. It's because it pasted that outline, that box, within this rectangle. So if you're creating your boxes, right, with your directs, with, you'll create a box. It'll create it as a layer. You select that layer, Control X, select, make sure that other rectangle is selected, and then select your direct selection tool, and then paste, and it will paste it within that shape layer, within the shape layer. Make sense? Make sense? All right. So with, again, now that you've got both of your paths, right? We'll call them paths. In here, we're going to use that direct selection tool again. And if the blue disappears, select the layer again. It should come up. All right. You're with that direct selection tool, right? Which is the white one. Or you can use the path selection tool to kind of select the individual paths. We're gonna select our path that we want to cut out, right? So with that path that we want to cut out selected, we're gonna go up to the menu bar up here, over to this little the double squares there. It's next to our alignment tool. We're then going to subtract front shape. Right? Now, there we go. Use your direct selection tool. Select the layer, direct selection tool, select that path. Actually, we'll use the path selection tool so it selects the whole thing, right? You can now move that path around. Okay. You got your transform handles, right? You can hold shift, constrain it to proportions to make it a little bigger, right? Okay, let's say I want to create another box over here, right? We want to create our cam box with my path selection tool. Click, hold, press Alt. And when you see that little plus sign come up, when you're holding Alt and the path selection tool, right? See that plus sign? Click and hold the path, drag, it will duplicate that box. Right? So it duplicated it with those settings, so it's cut out. I can then hold my shift key, make it smaller. I can then, take your pointer tool and bring it out to the edge till it does the rotation. Hold your shift key. I'm rotating it, constraining it to that rotation. Then I can move it. Boom. Now I've got my cutouts. Look, share screen. There you go. Okay. All right. Here's a quick pop quiz question for you, Interfleet. Okay. Right. Here you go. Here you go. I'm going to go grab. I'm going to go grab a background. I downloaded some the other day. Where is it? Overlays, static, assets. Where were those that I grabbed? Assets, okay. Abstract. Nope, don't want that. Ooh, that's cool. David would like this one. Okay. All right, so I got this background, right? We have this background. Now, I can do, a few ways. On the layer panel, it says background. You see that lock. If I hold my Alt key down and click on it twice, it removes that lock. I can then use my move tool, grab it. I'm going to pull it over and up to my other file, and then I'm going to drop it. Right now, it dropped it like outside of my artboard. And if you look, there's my share screen artboard, but it dropped it above it. If that happens, I know he said it was like help. I don't think James uses Gilded. James does a bit of the off the grid. Okay, anyway, we're going to drag this down into the shared screen. All right, see that? All right. Now remember earlier. Nope. David had given him an email to message because James does not do Facebook either. See. I'm trying to figure out the best way to get you a message for that. But all right. I know that's weird, right? That is weird. I believe I got this from Envato Elements. But it's big, right? So we're going to scale it down a little bit. We're going to scale it down. All right. So we have our shape layer that we want to cut out. We have our layer, right? Now, what did we do on the title Interfleet to take a top layer and use a bottom layer to cut it out. What did we do? What did we do? No. No. Control was used, but we created a clip. We created a clip from the layer. Well, a layer mask is different from what we did. Hey, Tara, quit coughing. Kevin says you need to quit that shit. She would love to. Clipping mask. Yes, Kevin says clipping mask, right? So, and there are a few ways to do that, right? The keyboard shortcut, right, is you want to select the top layer, go up to layer, down to create clipping mask, or use Alt Control G. Right? So, again, select the top layer, go up to layer, clipping mask, and it will use that bottom layer to knock out those areas that you don't want to see. Another way to do that is you take your mouse over to the layers panel, hold Control Alt, and then move your mouse between the two layers, and the little symbol come up to create clipping mask. Boom. Cliff Burton, God rest his soul. God rest his soul. Vector mask can work too. But the thing about it is, this way you can take this share screen now, right? Now that you've gotten that your base, you can then hold our Alt key and then drag it down to create a duplicate, and then go full cam. Right? We want to drag that down, though. Drag the artboards off of each other. Another way to do that is you can select the name, hold the Alt key, and then when you see the double arrows, create another copy, right? And with full cam, we can go to our full cam one, go to our rectangle, and even though our background is there, right, we can go to our path selection tool. We're going to select that path that I don't want. I'm going to delete it. I can delete it, and then I could select the other path. There's a full cam, right? See, I hate it when it does that. That's it. It centers it to the canvas, which it considers the whole thing the canvas. I hate that. So I just kind of eyeball it, right? So now we got that cool full cam. We got the split screen, right? So I go over to the split screen. Use my, select the layer. Your direct selection. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm gonna click this one. I'm gonna shrink it down a bit. And you were wanting to do like a triple, right? You know, a triple box. You can then, one box, two box. You can also, shift select and then move them. Boom. There you go. Cutouts. Any questions? Any questions? Oh, sorry. You had to see the bed hair. All right. All right. All righty then. Awesome. Glad everybody enjoyed that again. Thanks for watching today. Again, you can, I appreciate all the support. I hope you got something out of this. Again, you go to twitter.com/grimskull. Oops, it went away. I didn't mean to have it go away. Twitter.com/grimskull. Follow me there. That way you get notified of when I get notified, or you can get notified. You can get notified of when I'm streaming, and when I cancel, because sometimes I have to do short notice where I'm not going to be streaming. And again, Interfleet, I appreciate the support. Anybody else, if you feel like you've gotten anything out of this that's worthwhile and you want to support the channel, head over to buymeasushi.com. It's not required. I do cancel too much, but I do cancel probably too much. Again, thanks everybody for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. Hope you got something out of it. Go out, enjoy the rest of your day. Do something productive. Do something fun. If it's nice out, get out there and enjoy the outdoors. If it's too cold, give your middle finger to the cold. Because, man, I don't like the cold either. And I will be back Tuesday at 8 p.m. Or you can catch me in chat in Morning Invest. And I believe tomorrow is also an Overland Geeks live stream. So you can catch David and me and a few of us over there. So thank you. I know I got it for Christmas. It's a Christmas present. My girlfriend got me. So thank you. All right, folks, everyone, have a good Sunday, and I will see you later. Peace.